Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's class. My name is John Blomberg, and I'm the SBDC Area Manager for Rock Hill and the counties surrounding York. I'd like to thank you for joining us in what I believe is a very relevant series of classes on an important topic, marketing your business in a post-pandemic world. As a reminder, this class is a part of a series of marketing-related training being held over the next few months. In addition to today's class, on Thursday, June 16th, we have Unpacking the Mysteries of Social Media Marketing. And on Thursday, July 14th, the class will be Customer Service Tips to Improve Satisfaction. And both of those will be held at noon, same as today's class. You can find out more information about those classes and sign up for each of them at our website, www.winthropregionalsbdc.org. And we'll be giving that information in the chat very soon. For those of you unfamiliar with the South Carolina SBDC, we are a team of consultants with a mission to advance the South Carolina economy by helping entrepreneurs grow successful businesses. SBDC consultants are available to work one-on-one with you as you start, scale, and even sell your business. So just a few housekeeping items here. Please use the chat for any questions throughout the presentation. We're going to try to keep this presentation as class to an hour. Also, after the class, you'll receive a survey from the SBA asking about the class. We'd love your input on the presentation. So marketing and sales are the lifeblood for any business. And today we are excited to have two professors of marketing from Winthrop University join us for a very relevant class. Dr. Kara Peters and Dr. Jane Thomas, both of Winthrop University, have partnered with the SBDC many times over the years. They're a wealth of knowledge and information in an area of business that's ever changing. In addition, Dr. Thomas has often used SBDC clients to have students develop marketing strategies as a part of her graduate level marketing class, which has just been a terrific partnership with our organization. So with that said, I'd like to welcome Drs. Peters and Drs. Thomas, and we look forward to what you have to present today.
Great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Kara and I are delighted to be with you today and appreciate your taking your lunchtime to come join us. We've titled today Innovation Strategies to Market Your Business. And as we look at what's happened and where we're going, I want to kind of start off with a few statistics to help us understand where we are, where we're going. It is not news to you that we are facing lots of challenges in our personal lives and in our business lives. We see it all around us. We see businesses that closed temporarily during the pandemic. Maybe you were one that had to close temporarily. Sadly, we saw some of those businesses not open back up. We also saw and are currently seeing just this horrific thing in the supply chain. I mean, it is impacted everything imaginable. And then sadly, a lot of small businesses are not very optimistic about recovery and about the future. And then we layer onto all of these challenges, consumer fatigue. Consumers are just tired. And then all of this results in shifting consumer behavior. So basically what we have happening is burnout. And it started with this fire we called COVID, but then everything else started layering and layering and layering on it. And recognizing and understanding that burnout, not just of small business owners like yourself and all across the nation, and the burnout of customers is where we're kind of focus today and look at strategies. So today we're going to look at what we call 5 old and 5 new marketing strategies. We can have the next slide. Great. Okay. Yeah. You know, it would be naive to say that we've been through so much the past 2.5, almost 3 years, and think that we can do business the way we've always done it, think that we interact with customers the way we've always done it. Everybody's changed. It needs marketing has to change. So today, Kara and I are going to present to you 5 old truths and then 5 new truths about marketing, and give you some very practical things to do in looking at that and improving your marketing strategy. So let's begin with the very basic old truth of marketing. Marketing begins with knowing your customer. You have worked your business around the customer is king, the customer is queen. In my Principles of Marketing class, we began with a basic definition of the goal of marketing is to meet the needs and wants of the customer. And all of that is still true. But if you're still using traditional approaches to know your customer and to reach your customer, you are missing out on doing business in a better way. So let's look at the first new truth. The first new truth is marketing begins not just with knowing your customer, but with knowing your customer segment. This map of the state of South Carolina, illustrates quite well what you already know. And that is the state of South Carolina is not a homogeneous group of people and regions. We have the coastal region where you're going to sell flip-flops and sunscreen all year round. We have the regions that are near the mountains where people are doing hiking and canoeing and other types of outdoor activities. And then we also in South Carolina have something actually very exciting happening, and that is all the people who are moving to South Carolina from other parts of the country. And they're adding to the fiber of our communities and of our region. And we really need to understand them too, because they are a unique segment. So let's look at some ways that we can approach this new truth. How do you connect with your customer? You may look at that first bullet and go, ask questions. That is sometimes that simple. When you have the opportunity to interact with your customer, ask questions, not just the typical, what are you coming in here for? But get to know them. What are their pain points? What would make coming to your business easier for them? For your loyal customers, invite them to be part of the decision making. Maybe you're trying to make some decisions about what hours to be open or whether to carry a new product or provide a new service. Ask them, invite them to sample things, give them coupons, but engage them in that process. Today, we know that relationship building is so critical to the success of your business. Most of you probably have social media pages, and we will in our next seminar really dive into talking about social media. But when you ask a customer to follow you, follow them back. It's not creepy. It's social media. It's public. Follow them back and get to know them. Just study them, become a student of them. And if you see happy life moments in their lives, make a comment to them or send something to them. And then the other thing you can do with this information from asking questions, from studying them on social media, is use what I call buyer personas. I want to give you some examples of some buyer personas that I've used in some of my classes as a way to connect with customers. So let's look at the first one. This one was actually done for a small business by students in my marketing class last spring. The business was a mobile exercise company. In other words, they come to you. And in doing this, the students actually studied who uses a mobile exercise. Well, this is a fictitious story, but it actually represents many customers who this business is servicing. So here you see this story about Alec. You see his age, you see what he does, his marital status, what he likes, what he dislikes, but then you start to understand what we call his pain points. What are his needs? What are his wants? And you see that Alec is committed to his family, but he's not doing the thing he wants to do, and that is take care of himself so he could be a better father. And so the owner of this business, the mobile exercise business, knows a little bit about Alec. Know it's about time. Know it's about taking care of himself. He begins to understand. Let me show you another. This example is for a coffee shop. It's a lot more involved, and the reason I'm showing you different ways of looking at this is because, first of all, there's not a right or wrong way to develop this buyer persona. This is something you are developing for yourself that will help you in building your marketing strategy. So there's not a right way or a wrong way, but I love this one. This is for a coffee shop. And it talks about a day in the life of Sarah. What would a day in the life of one of your customers look like? What do you know about their day? Understanding that helps you build your marketing strategy, knowing things like what time of day might they be using their social media, what time of day might they be thinking about your business or your service. And then in this story of Sarah, you also see what are her hopes and dreams, what are her worries and her fears, and what things would make her life faster and easier. Again, knowing your customer, developing that story. And then the last one I have for you to look at is another one that students did in a class last semester. This was for a taxi service for children. And they developed this persona, they call her Mandy. And notice here about Mandy, what her goals are, and then notice her pain points. This is something we often drill down into as marketers, is understanding what are your customers' frustrations? What would make their life easier? And for Mandy, you see here, it's her inflexible work hours, not a lot of time to run around and pick up the kids. And Mandy also has a special needs child. So it makes a service like this very important for her. And you see what motivates her. And look at those motivations: ease of use and reliable. These are the things that are important to Mandy. So as we look at this in developing our customer personas, so what do we do with this? So how do you use a buyer persona? As you've seen here, you develop these stories so that you better understand who the consumer is, what are their pain points, what's going into their decision-making. It helps you also identify and acknowledge things that might be obstacles. Again, simple things like what time you should be open or close. Should you offer gift wrapping? Should you provide service at your front door? You know, what is it that the customers face and what are their obstacles? And it also helps you enhance your brand communication. So when you are communicating with members of your target market, you're no longer communicating with this is for everyone. Instead, when you're developing those messages, you're now going, this is for Alec. This is for Sarah. This is for Mandy. You have someone in mind as you're doing this. Next, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Kara, who's going to start us off with our second set of old truth and new truths.
Thank you, Jane. So yes, we're going to talk about some more old truths and new truths, but I wanted to start by talking about something you already know because it's part of your life and what you experience. But prior to the pandemic, we were already seeing shifts in consumer behavior, more people purchasing online, for example, people using social media more, technology being more integrated into their lives. We saw things like the decline in the shopping mall, the decline in department stores, the increase in online shopping, and the increase not just in online shopping, but with places like Amazon. That was already happening all before the pandemic. Growth in media, social media influencers being out there and starting to become popular, happening before social media. Even telemedicine was there before social media. But what we saw in the pandemic, and like many things happening in life right now, everything seems to be going much faster. So those trends were slowly starting to creep in pre-pandemic, but during the pandemic, it's like all those things got very accelerated. All of a sudden now everything is almost through social media, right? We're delivering more presentations like this online, and you can now shop on product delivered from Amazon the same day. The same day you can for $2.99, and sometimes it's free, but you can often get the same product delivered to your front door for almost nothing, very little, the same day. And so it's just changing, the speed is changing, and then how consumers feel, shop, behave is changing. So this is where the old truths and new truths are coming from. And this first one is this idea that you're competing with your competitors. It's an old truth. You have to know who your competition is. You have to know what your competitors are selling, what they're pricing it at, how they're providing customer service, and you need to beat them. However, there's a new truth layered on top of this old truth that now you're actually competing with yourself. So not only are you competing with competitors, but you're competing with the last experience the customer had with you. What was the last time or interaction or something they already know about you? You're competing against yourself in the last interaction or thought or moment that the customer spent thinking about you. And so what that means is things like the likelihood of another purchase. So if the first time someone comes in, either online or in a store, and buys from you, it's a 27% probability they're going to come back and buy from you again. Pretty good numbers, not horrible. However, if they bought from you 2 times, they're 45% more likely to come back. If they've purchased from you 3 times, the number continues to go up to 54%. So you get the idea that your last experience and your last touch point you've had with the customer is crucial, because that's going to help them decide if they're coming back again, and not just whether they're going to a competitor, but what about you, and they're building that relationship with you. Okay, so we wanted to show you a couple of examples. These are local examples. So to bring it down to reality of stores that are providing experiences. So while things are growing online, we still think there is an important role of the store. Okay, it's not all going online. We would encourage online and have a website, as we'll talk about with Cindy's in a minute, but stores still have an important role. And your job as the business owner is to give the consumer a reason to come into your store. Why do I want to come to you? That's kind of what we're thinking about, is experiences. People still want to shop in stores to have experiences, and they have reasons they still want to go to stores. And this is Cindy's Flower Shop. That's actually the name on her sign on Cherry Road in Rock Hill. It's a very little brick, standard looking store on the outside. It's an obvious that she's going to have a bunch of flowers when you walk in there. But one of the reasons that Cindy's is attractive is she has, when you walk in, a whole bunch of other kinds of products. Her store is full of gift items, candles, inspirational plaques, plush animals. You're greeted when you walk in, and she's going to talk to you more than just, would you like flowers, but here's other things we can deliver or that you could take as a gift. And so she has this plethora of things, even though she's just a flower shop. In addition to that, a lot of small gift shops, for example, don't have a good online presence. So if she also, a lot of them, what they'll do is just build out a Facebook page. Not saying that's not a great place to start, is have a Facebook page, and they'll put whole pictures of brands or products in the shop. But the issue is the consumer might want to actually also go to your website, click and order flowers, click and have the gift sent. And so does Cindy also have an easy to navigate website with clear images and easy to check out? We would recommend that she has that too. So people don't just see pictures on her Facebook page of all the stuff in her store, but they know what are individual items. They'll either go into the store to get that individual item, or they can order online and get it easy and convenient. Another example we wanted to provide, this is a lovely little French bakery in Rock Hill called Madou. It has the experience, or provides an experience much like a cafe in France. The pastries are made on site daily. It has a very relaxing atmosphere, free Wi-Fi, music playing. So what we really like about this store is it provides all your experiences. It's touching on the 5 experiences. And it's an interesting idea from a store owner perspective. Is this store, right, has a lot of things going for sound. It has the coffee grinding. It has music playing. It has the smell of coffee and fresh pastries. It has a very beautiful visual display of the coffee makers and the products. So when you start thinking about this, you're smelling. If they have samples out, you could taste the product. Like if they might cut up what fresh bread they made that day and it put out little 1-inch cubes, then you can taste. And so all these senses come together. And from a marketing perspective, marketing research shows that the more senses you touch, the more likely the consumer is to want to purchase from you. And so we would and so you might want to think, okay, that's a coffee shop or that's a bakery, but it works actually for regular stores too. An example I have is I have a friend who owns baby clothing and baby accessory. She's actually a manufacturer. She makes her own brand of like clothing, baby clothing and accessories. And she goes to where all the vendors are. Okay. So a big show where all the vendors are and they have booths. And she said she brings a waffle cone smell machine. She's not selling ice cream or waffle cones, but she pumps out a very light scent from her booth of waffle cones. And she said people come from all over just to flock and look at her product. And right next door might be the same product. And she also has beautiful displays. So she has good visual displays, but she's pumping out smell for baby clothing. And she says it really attracts the customer. So again, using other senses can work, even if it's just like a gift shop or baby clothing, for example. Okay, our third one, let me take a sip here. This is another store in Rock Hill, Corks, Cooks, and Books. What we like about this one, excuse me, this store is about community and lingering and providing experiences that way. They sell wine, coffee, small bites to eat, books, pretty much a breadth of products for all kinds of people. This is what we call the third space. It started with Starbucks, but introducing a place where people just want to hang out, where people want to go gather, work, socialize, go there with their girlfriend, have a drink and sit down and relax. Excuse me, I got to tickle my throat. So this one really shows you a good example of community and socialization and how they're trying to build that, tap into the community, but provide this third space where people can feel community, live community, socialize. Another way to attract people to your store. Okay, next, old truth, new truth. The old truth, the good times will roll and they've continued to roll. And you can see that from this slide. This shows you how pretty much over time, okay, we've seen pretty much strong economic growth. Those of us on this call, most of people, pretty much everybody on here has been through the crash in 07, 08, 09. So times were hard then, but generations of kids, like what we're seeing in college students, they never lived through things like inflation and things that we're starting to see today. And so we're kind of in unprecedented times because we've had long-term steady economic growth, even with that small blip in 08, 09, where things have continually been good and consumers have wanted to buy, wanted to spend, have access to credit. Their house price was continually going up over time. So things have been good for a long time. And for some generations of consumers, that's all they know. And so we're in uncharted territories. And again, it's like this, those of you who are from the 70s, right? I was actually born in the 70s, right? So my parents experienced this, but gas lines, inflation mentality. So for them, they're looking and saying, wow, this reminds me of the 70s. But for my daughter, who's 21, she's never seen anything like this. She doesn't know what this is even like. And so we're starting to see this inflation mentality start back up and infect people, but it's also slightly different than what we saw in the 70s. This is an example, this picture here of a coffee. Think of like a gas station coffee because we're in the dollar range. But like a typical cup of coffee in a gas station. In the 70s, it was 25 cents. Today, well, 2019, before today, it's probably more like $2.50 now, $2, $1.99, right? 20% probably up. And in 19, it was $1.59, probably closer to $2 today. If you go to Starbucks, it's like $6, right? I had a Starbucks the other day, $6, right? So then there's these high-end layerings as well, and in addition to just the standard cup of coffee and how much the price has gone up over time. So how do you deal with that as a store owner? Okay, so that's kind of what we wanted to talk to you about today. Or what are things that how might the consumer be shifting their mentality now that they have this kind of today's inflation mentality? People are paying attention to prices. And what that means is they're going to go for things like value brands. You're going to see more increase in generic brands, store brands. If you are a store, do you have multiple price points for your products? Do you have some high-end stuff? Because there's still people out there who the inflation isn't, I think I read like 20% of people don't think inflation is impacting them, probably very wealthy, but they can afford things. So do you have a high end, but do you also have a value-based product that's still serving the needs of the customer, but might be at a more affordable price point? More online shopping. People might even be price shopping. So they might actually Google you to see if you have the product they're looking at online. They want to come in, touch and see and feel it. Or they might be in your store and they might actually Google and see, is the price the same somewhere else or not online? So what are they doing with the online shopping? And they might actually just be comparing you versus them, or even finding it online, but coming to see if you have the product that they want. Warranty, product quality. So we're seeing, as consumers have an inflation mentality, shifting much more to wanting a product that's going to last. Where in the past, it might be much more like it could be an obsolete product very quickly. That t-shirt is old, I'm going to toss it and get a new one. Now I want a higher quality t-shirt that's going to last me several years when they're buying products, for example. Buying in bulk. So if you can get a cheaper price by buying a larger pack, we're going to see more of that. Using credit, as people need to spend more out of their immediate cash pile right there for gas, they still are going to buy products, but they might be doing it more on credit. Does your store offer credit? Something like a place like a veterinarian office where you have products, people are still going to take their dog to the vet, right? And the dog might need surgery, but they don't have the immediate money because they're in a cash crunch to pay for the surgery. Do you offer credit? You can do it through your own, or you can outsource it where you hand them, here's our partner credit provider, and you hand them, they get instant approval and boom, now they can pay the vet bill as they walk out the door. So offering credit and thinking about creative ways, even if it's partnering with Synchrony or some bank where they can just apply, get approved, and then immediately be able to purchase. And then reading the competition. What is my competitor doing? Are they raising prices? Are they not raising prices? Are they offering little benefits as they raise additional benefits potentially to the customer as they raise prices? So as you raise prices, what can you do to make it look like the additional price is valuable or worth it for the customer? So these are some strategies that we're seeing what customers are looking for as inflation starting to set in. Another old truth, new truth. This is kind of how consumers have changed. And the old truth is that consumers would hope you have what they want. I'm going to walk in this store and hope they have a great gift for my best friend for her birthday. But the new truth is now what we're seeing is, especially with younger generation, which we're going to talk about in a second, but consumers expect you to be reaching out to them, not them coming to you and seeing what you have, but more, are you courting me? This is Bridgerton. I don't know if you know this, but this is a hot show on Netflix, right? Where the women get presented, they hope the men come to them. So kind of the old way. But the new way now, what consumers want is you to reach out to them. And digital, again, comes to play in this. Are you on social media? Are you following them? Are you commenting on them? As Jane said, when it's their birthday, are you sending them a happy birthday message? Or you could send them, if you have their email, you could do direct email campaigns on their birthday, send them a coupon. It's your birthday, happy birthday, come in during this month and get 10% off your purchase. So you need to court them is kind of what we're seeing. This is especially true with today's millennials. Totally interesting generation, the younger people. They're not influenced by traditional advertising. They don't watch television as much. They don't read the newspaper. They're not doing things that the older generations have done. So they're not even really on the radio. They're on their Apple Music, for example. So they're not really influenced by traditional advertising. They review blogs and online reviews are big with this generation before they purchase. They'll go out and do their research online before they decide. They like niche brands. So, the Levi's that I grew up with that everyone loved is still my generation's brand, right? They want these specialty jeans with certain brand names that no one in the masses have already heard about. They like these niche brands, for example. 62% of millennials say if a brand engages with them, seeks them out on social media, follows them, okay, they're more likely to seek them out and make a purchase from them. They also like to co-create products, this generation. So this is like a customization idea. So they don't just want to buy white tennis shoes. They want to buy tennis shoes where they can add their initials or they can add some bling, some little crystals on it as part of their order. And it now becomes a customized product in their mind, but they can co-create. They can purchase the tennis shoes and then add these extra things like, let's get my initials printed on there. And they've now participated in the design process. And this a generation really likes that kind of idea. They expect brands to give back to society. And this is a really interesting one. You see this a lot with retailers, like when you check out a Harris Teeter, would you like to round up? So if you come up to $38.49, would you like to round that to $39 today? And we're going to give this additional cents to charity. And older people tend not to really go for that much, but the younger generation really does. When I'm watching other people in stores, a lot of younger generation people are like, sure, round it up. Another interesting way you could do this that I think is more appealing than just roundup campaign is I was in a used bookstore the other day and they had a similar campaign. I go to checkout, they hand me a flyer that they kept. It was just one copy of a flyer and it had logos of different elementary schools that were in the region around, like in the miles around, like within 10 miles around this store. And they said, we're going to give 5% of every purchase this month to the store that's the most popular. So please pick or school that is, the school that is most popular. Please pick which school you would like to vote for your purchase today. And I picked a school there. My kid goes to a small private school. So I said, how about this school? And they're like, yes. And I said, will they win? And she said, well, usually the biggest elementary school within our, like right around the corner usually wins. I'm like, well, that's great. So she said, they kind of have this voting. And she said, every purchase you come back and make this month, we will give you another vote towards the school of your choice. And then the top 3 schools that gets the most votes will take the money and divide it up amongst the top 3. And I loved it because I was out nothing, right? I was going to pay for the books and buy the books anyway, but it made me feel engaged, participating. And it was an easy way for them to give and to appeal to the customer, but I didn't have to feel like I was saying yes to rounding up. So it was an interesting one that you could use. The other thing about this is authentic experiences, this generation especially, but that's another good example of that one at the used bookstore is it's very authentic, right? That I'm going to support local schools and books go together, and I'm going to support the schools right around my store. So it feels very real and very authentic versus the roundup. I don't know what the charity, I don't know where the money's going. It has less of an authentic feel. I'm not saying it's not authentic, but I'm just saying, thinking about the authenticity and how that comes across, because authenticity is really important to today's millennials and even all today's consumers. People want to know it's real and that it's not fake and you're not just saying something, you're actually doing it. Okay, the next old truth, new truth is in the 90s, we started seeing things on relationship marketing, and it's only grown. Relationships matter. But now what we're seeing is relationships are really everything. And it starts early before the person even comes to you. They're starting to build a relationship with you. Before they even walk into your store, the customer has looked you up online or heard about you from a friend or read about you online. And so they've already started to build a relationship with you even before you've interacted with them. And the reason the relationships are everything is here in these statistics. A 5% increase in customer retention results in increased revenue of 25 to 95%. So if you can build a relationship with someone as a customer, your revenues are going to go up. Existing customers understand the value of your store, of your product, of your services, whatever you have to offer. Once they've been there one time and they understand what you do and what's great about what you do and what you offer, and what they liked about it, they understand that. And so they're much more likely to come back. 83% of happy customers, they not only are they going to come back, but they're willing to refer you and write on to friends, family, and write online reviews about you, which is what we're seeing is a big growth. Like before the stranger comes in, somebody else who's been to your store a bunch of times has already posted about you on their neighborhood Facebook page. Hey, I went to this restaurant and had this great experience. And they'll just post out there like that. And then everybody in that on that neighborhood Facebook page now has seen those online reviews. And that person who's never interacted with you before is starting to already build a relationship with you. Wow, I read about this great Indian restaurant that's brand new in Fort Mill. This happened to me the other day. And I went in and tried them because some stranger online posted that it was great from my neighborhood. Okay, so relationships are becoming everything. And the consumer's building that relationship with you before they get there. And that's what this is called, the marketing flywheel to drive growth. And the idea of a wheel is that the more you spin it and the faster you spin it, the more you're going to grow. Okay. And the outer layer is, it starts with strangers. These are people who you don't know, they've never been in your store, but they are looking you up online. They're seeing somebody post about you on Facebook. They're reading your Google reviews. They're hearing about you from somebody at work who's like, hey, I just ate down the street, this great sandwich shop, or I look at this great gift I got for my mom for Mother's Day, right? From a friend. They're strangers talking to other strangers. And then ideally those strangers you're going to attract. You're going to attract them through other people talking about you. So your stranger, you're going to attract them. You're going to engage these prospects. They're going to be the first person who comes, they'd come into your restaurant, your store for the first time. Hey, I read on Facebook that you guys have the best Mother's Day gifts from my friends that are in this Facebook group. So now they become a prospect who's thinking about you because they read about it. They come in and they engage with you for the first interaction. When they walk into your store, are you touching all the senses? Do they see? Do they smell? Do you have samples for them? Are you greeting them, right? So they engage with you in the store. You have the products they love at the right price. You wrap it beautifully as they walk out. And now you've converted them into a delighted customer who's more likely to come back, right? Wheels spinning. But they're also then the ones that are repeat customers, kind of can get converted into promoters or brand fans. These are the people who will go out and promote you to family, friends online through their Facebook pages, through their Instagram pages. They might even take a video of themselves walking into your store. Sometimes girls are taking videos of themselves in the dressing room. I'm at such and such boutique today and look at this cute dress. They'll post pictures of themselves like that on Instagram. They're mentioning your boutique or they're mentioning a brand that you make. They might take a picture of their coffee, post it on their Instagram, loving my coffee at Knowledge Perk today. That's a Rock Hill coffee shop. And they're promoting you. So your goal is to start thinking about how these people, you're attracting strangers online before you've even ever talked to them. Then the idea is they're going to start thinking about you. They're going to come in and engage with you, and you provide an excellent experience with products and customer service and checkout in your store. You've now delighted them. Not only are they likely to repeat purchase, but they're going to post good reviews. They're going to talk about you on their Facebook page or post a picture of themselves hanging out in your store or trying on that dress on Instagram. And the idea is it's a circle. You keep this process going and you spin it faster in order to grow and start from strangers to making them come in, to building a relationship, to having them promote for you as fans of your brand or of your store. So that's the end of our presentation today. I see a couple things in chat. I don't know if they're questions or what. Do we have questions?
I don't see any yet.
Okay.
There were some emails going around.
Okay. Anybody have
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, if you have a question, raise your
It
hand.
could be about anything. It doesn't
we'll
even have
have
to be
you
about what we
unmuted.
talked about.
Okay, Melissa, I see your question. What if you don't have a traditional business? Can you unmute Melissa and tell us a little bit more about your business and how we might be able to help you?
Hello.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Thomason, Dr. Peters.
You know us. Are you from Winthrop?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just graduated spring 2022.
All right.
Yes, I know who Melissa is. So what's your question, Melissa?
What's your business? Yeah.
So I actually started a new business while I was enrolled at Winthrop, and unfortunately I didn't get to meet y'all at the ceremony. However, it's a modern take on a photography studio. So there's selfie museums popping up. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept.
No, but I love it. Selfie museum.
Yeah, so it's a modern take on a photography studio. So what it is we've painted like all these multiple backgrounds. So it's like 30 different backgrounds where you can come in and take your own pictures, or you can hire a staff photographer. We also have an event space. So
Cool.
Social media is very big to our business,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Um, and with marketing, I've learned a lot about Google and different things like that, but we're not a necessity, so to speak.
Yep.
So it's like, how do, and in a matter of 6 months, like we get a lot of reviews, and I was looking at your percentage about, so we have some customers that have come back at least like 4 times, but I guess trying to figure out how to get more people within the space, so to speak.
How about weddings? Have you tapped weddings?
I have not. We've
I would
had a
tap
lot
that
of
market.
bachelorette parties come through, but I don't know
Yep.
how to.
Yeah, I would make a business card or start partnering. If you can partner here, I have 2 ideas, and Jane might have her own. Weddings, because people spend anything on a wedding. Okay. So like, I don't know if you know, but I have another alum who just got married the other day as a realtor. And she said, I'm kind of blowing through my budget. I'm just going to sell more houses. Because when it becomes your wedding, people, it is a necessity in their mind, right? Even though it's a luxury. But, and then you have all this time at the wedding while the wedding party's getting there, where guests may want to go to your station, right? And take pictures and have memories, family that come from out of town that never see each other and get together. And then you could partner, like you could go to wedding planners, you could approach other businesses and partner with them and say, hey, will you promote me on your social media? Or will you refer me? I'll give you 5%, or I'll give you a free session. If you get me 5 weddings, Miss Wedding Planner, business owner, right? I will give you a free, next time you have your baby shower, I'll give you one of these, right? Or I'll give you 2% off. So partnering with other business owners that are in the wedding business. Florists are big in weddings. There's wedding planners that are big. Get places where bridal shops, right? You can partner with them. And even then you could set up in a bridal shop one day. And as brides come in and try on their dresses, they could take a selfie with your background and say, now you want to book this for your wedding. So events would be my other idea. And Jane and I have who's been doing an online business where it's a traditional in-person business, but she's converting it online. And it's like a beauty and fashion business, but have events where her friends all come in a big city, like in Charlotte. She hosts an event, has people pay like $50 to come. You could have music and get a bunch of people there. But then what she does is she's trying to get the individuals who come to then sign up for her online business, but also see the business and what they do, but then promote it on. She wants all of those people who come to the events to put videos of themselves at the event on social media, on their Facebook pages, on their Instagram stories. So, an event or at one of these bachelor parties, you could say, every girl who puts this on Instagram and tags me a video of tonight, I'll give you a coupon for a future one, or I'll give you a t-shirt, or I'll put you in a drawing for $25 for every girl that does, or male, I shouldn't say it's just girls, right? Or woman who posts about us on their Instagram page from tonight. You could offer a little drawing as an incentive and pick out the best one and give it to them, right? So yeah, I think you got to get creative in your partnerships, and then in events and partnering with other businesses. What industries where there might be your customer that's definitely going to want that. And weddings have a lot of weddings people spend. People want it, right? They're like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. So they don't skimp on the dress, right? They don't skimp on the reception, or they don't, because it's their once in a lifetime wedding.
Right.
Babies are another one. The time the baby's born, it's a huge life event. So, baby clothing stores, if you could partner with them, and as people are starting to think about and buy baby products as they're pregnant, right? Having this for your baby shower, having this the day your baby's born, we'll come to you and we'll do a thing right after your baby comes. That would be cool. Life events where people don't necessarily care about the cost, right? Because it's the one time.
And Melissa, I'm assuming this is mobile. Your selfie museum is mobile.
No, it's actually brick and mortar, but we want to add a mobile component because we actually had 2 events where they wanted us to set up a selfie station, and we have one coming up next month where we're setting up a selfie station for a Juneteenth event. So we have people reaching out, but we haven't crossed over. That's something we want to add for sure, because we're definitely getting those inquiries.
Yeah,
I
because
think
just
that-
listening to everything Kara mentioned, all of her suggestions, those were assuming that it's mobile. So yeah, I think you're going to find a lot more business space if you go mobile and then look at all of these different types of corporate events, wedding events, kids' birthday parties, just, you can layer on and on. You could customize the selfie backdrops for the different events. So there's lots of things you can do, but she's right. It's really going to be that just getting into the weeds and very, very much direct one-on-one to make it work. But we're going to put up your web address there because we all want to go check it out and see what you have because it's fun. So
And the other thing is, if you build the mobile, you can still have the stuff in your store. You just,
right.
the event is at my store, right? But the other thing about the mobile, you could do events like the city of Rock Hill when they have the Come See Me Festival. Baxter Village in Fort Mill has a weekend where they do, and vendors can just put out a booth. That could be your booth, is come up and for $5. Normally my fee is $30, but I'm gonna let you do one selfie with one background for a mini one, right? Like a one, if you normally let them have like 10 backgrounds for $100, right? Or whatever you're charging, you can say for $5, you can do one background today with you and your spouse or whoever you're with. And you charge $5 and then you give out business cards or little flyers that are promoting, hey, here's our store, come into our store, or here's how we can provide a mobile event for you down the road. So go to events with like a mini version, sell a $5 version or a $10 version, and then promote your bigger version so they come back later. That's another way I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's great. Who else? That's wonderful, Melissa. And we're
Jane.
happy to talk to you later. We're happy to talk with you later offline too. So you can just
you
reach
got our
out to
email
us.
address. You know us.
Yes, I love you ladies so much.
You can find us. But who else might have a question this afternoon?
Jane, go in the chat. There's more. Can you see it?
Well, someone in the chat was just asking Melissa some questions and giving her some ideas.
Okay.
Okay, we've got one here for Justin. Justin has an HVAC company. What advice do you have for us to find new customers? Go contact realtors.
Yeah.
Anybody who is buying or selling, a house. And I kind of say that
through the
jokingly,
inspection, right?
but
The realtor can refer you for an inspection.
yeah, you want to get on that preferred list. I know Kara mentioned some students we formerly who were our students who have a very successful real estate business within, I think, the Keller Williams group. But in talking to them, it's really been interesting because they have actually put together their own little network so that when I'm buying my house or selling my house and I need HVAC, I need someone who can paint, I need all these things you might need for buying or selling, they have them. I mean, it's almost like their own little private Angie's list, if you would. So I think that is really just a great way, kind of very grassroots, but to look for those types of spaces where people are looking for that.
I got one. Can I go?
Okay.
Yeah. Justin, I live in a neighborhood where there's a very active Facebook page of, they call it Springfield Speaks. And so how do you, if you could tap one person in my neighborhood, it happens all the time. You go and you have one good experience with one person who calls you right from your phone number. They've Googled you. So your Google, your search engine optimization, your website, where you come up when people just search Rock Hill HVAC, that's important. So the SEO, search engine marketing, pay-per-click advertising, which helps boost you on that. All those things are important, and kind of once you get them kind of going, they're not too bad in terms of affordability. But then once you get one person asking them, will you please post about me in your neighborhood Facebook page, or refer me, or Google review me? All that stuff is really important, the Google reviews, but also, so in my neighborhood, that's what people do. Like Jane said, somebody will post, my air conditioning just broke, who should I call? And there'll be like 3 or 4 people, and some people are really active. Somebody might just have happened to them, but I watch it with a plumber all the time. There's one plumber that people refer again and again and again. They got excellent customer service. They come quick, they're good price in Fort Mill. And they'll all be like Giles, but other people will insert other guys in there. It doesn't mean they're all going for Giles, but you can see all of a sudden there's like 15 of names, and there'll be sometimes it'll be 5 different names or 10 different names, but sometimes they're all converging on one. And if you can be that one that gets 2 or 3 people to recommend you in there, boom, they're going to call you over someone else. So trying to tap that, what used to be like word of mouth. I told my neighbor, but how do you tap the electronic of it? And so you got to ask the person as you check out, right? You give them a card. Hey, will you please provide a Google review for us and put it on there, right? Tag us and we'll put you in an entry for a draw. Those kinds of things we think might help.
Yeah.
You want to go on the next
Great.
one?
Yeah.
James, did you have another? I interrupted you. Do you have another?
No, that's okay. No,
Okay.
I think
I'm just-
you took it well and,
Okay.
and handled it and got into it. But yeah, just someone out actually on the chat room also mentioned going after those people who are in the rental business of
Yes.
houses and things, which would be another great place to look to.
That's thinking about your target, like Jane talked about. Are you going after consumers? Are you going after businesses, rental businesses, realtors, thinking about different customer segments, right? Different groups you can attract with your business. If you're only in one, can you go into these others?
Yeah. And then, even there, I think about the provider and depending upon where you live, they also provide in your area, Morris Jenkins, who does heating and air conditioning, and then they added plumbing. I mean, that's a great example. Again, a very large company, but they have created such a very personal persona with a real man, Mr. Jenkins, but just everything about them and what they do. And it's the consistency of the message they're showing online and in their messaging, and then how they actually are when they come into your home. And so you trust them. So I think anything you can do to develop that relationship we talked about today, and to develop that trust that you are the guy to call when you have HVAC needs, is going to help with all of this. So really think about, what do you want people to know about you and your business? And when they hear your name, what do you want them to think of? Oh, this is a local guy. He's reliable. He has good prices. He's fair. He's honest. What do you want them to think about you? It goes back to that wheel Carol was talking about there at the end. What other kind of questions do we have?
Is the chat just people sharing ideas, or is it?
So people have shared ideas. A couple of people asked for our email addresses. I gave that to them.
98 5-star reviews. They have tons of money for marketing. The online reviews are important, believe it or not. They really do. People check them. The blogs, like I mentioned earlier, again, depending on what you're doing with your digital marketing and what kind of time and money you have, but blogging, providing white papers, it's weird. But then for you, search engine marketing, because there's like, people just often will Google HVAC Rock Hill. My thing just broke, but it's not just HVAC, because that's more expensive to get a general word. You want to go very specific. You can go down to like certain types of HVAC, right? And 24-hour repair, certain kinds of things broken, and you can niche into smaller search terms that are a little less expensive and more likely to generate a customer. So there's a whole art to that kind of thing.
And we're going to talk about some of those tips for doing that in the next session next month. So come back then, and we're going to really drill out into some of those pieces.
More
too.
social media focused, but we can answer questions about that stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other questions?
Well, I've put in here our email addresses. They're both there. They're easy. Peter C., Thomas J. at Winthrop. And if you have some questions after today in the next week or whatever, don't hesitate to email either one of us. We're usually pretty quick in responding, and would be happy to talk with you or to set up a phone call with one of us or both of us, and anything that we can do to help you grow your business.
And thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it, and hope you'll have the next 2 dates on your calendar in June and July, because we're excited about those presentations too. So thank you for having us, John and Tom and Sarah. We really appreciate it today.
Thank you. 5 old marketing truths being paired with 5 new ways of thinking, strategies, and executions for those strategies. This is fantastic. We really appreciate the insights. Just a little bit of housekeeping for everyone. Watch for the survey email. We'd love to hear back. And also be sure to sign up for the next 2 classes. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.